We begin today the Gemara on Daf Tzadik Ches Amud Aleph, 9 lines down from the top of the Amud, where it says Va'amar Ababa. The Gemara here continues to talk about Mashiach, and specifically the Gemara before spoke about different kitzen, times of Mashiach, and what's going to be happening in the world in the time when Mashiach comes. So the Gemara Va'amar Ababa, Ababa said, Ein lecha kates megula mizeh. There's no other case that's so open and clear like what it says here in this pasuk. Shenema, the pasuk says, "Va'atem," then you, Harei Yisrael, an peichem, Yidden are your branch, or an peichem titenu. Your branches are going to give. Uprichem tisu la'ami Yisrael v'gaimer, and the fruits will be carried for the sake of Yidden. And then the pasuk says in the end, Ki kervu lovei, because the time of Mashiach is close to come. What this means is that in the time before Mashiach comes, so then Eretz Yisrael is going to produce good fruits and things are going to be good, and that's a sign that the time of the Ketz, the time of the Gula is very near. Rabbi Elazar says, Af mizeh. There's another pasuk that clearly spells out what's going to be before Mashiach comes, and here it sort of says the opposite. Shenemar, here in this pasuk it says, Kilifnei hayamim ahein, before those times, schara adam lo niyeh. A person won't have any work, he won't be able to hire himself out. And even an animal won't have any work to do, because there'll be a time where people, like the Gemara before brought, tichle pruta min hakis, there won't be any money in the pocket. So that's expressed here in this pasuk similar. And also liyaytzu leba ein shalom min atzar. For the ones that are going out and they are coming in, there'll be no peace from the tzaris that there will be, or from the tsar also means from the yetzer hara. So now the Gemara explains the second part of the pasuk. Mai liyaytzer leba. Who is this one that's going out and coming in? That ain't shalom, there'll be no peace. Minat tsar, from the tsar, from the tzaris, or Rashi says yetzer hara. Rav says it refers to af talmidei chachamim. It's talking here about those talmidei chachamim shekasabem shalom. Regarding talmidei chachamim, it says that they have peace. The chsivas, it says shalom rav lo'oyev yisrael, abundant of peace for those that love Torah. But ein shalom mipnei tzar. They won't have shalom from the tzaris in this time before Mashiach comes. Ushmuel Amar, and Shmuel says, Ad she'iyu kol ha'sha'arim kulan shkulim. That what this pasuk is saying over here is that all of the prices will all be the same. That's what the pasuk over here is saying. But when it says here in the lashon of the pasuk that the yetzer leba, I think it's going on this part of the pasuk, or maybe it's going on the first part of the pasuk, that when it says yamim mehem, there'll be no schar. For Adam, so what he's saying is it means that in that time period, all the prices will be the same. And Rashi has two pshatim for this. Either it means that in that time period, everything will be available in abundance, and therefore it'll be cheap to buy everything. Or the opposite, that all prices will be expensive, very expensive, because like the other pshat, that when Mashiach comes, there'll be no money, and then there'll be a lot of inflation. And the shkulim means that all the prices will be equally in the sense that they'll all go up. Amar Rab Chanina, we see that, right? Amar Rab Chanina said, Ein ben David Mashiach does not come, Achi yitzbakish dog l'choyle, v'lo yematzeh, until there will be a time when you will need a fish to serve someone that's ill, and you won't find. Shenemar, the pasuk says, Oz ashkia meimeim, I will submerge their waters, v'nareisam kashem and oilech, and the rivers will be like oil. Which means it's going to be a time where there won't be water, and you'll want to catch a fish, but it'll be like oil, where it'll be thick and you won't be able to catch a fish. And then B'kasav, Basrei, the pasuk says afterwards, in that time I will sprout a keren for Yidden, which is the coming of Mashiach. So this piece of Gemara that Rebbe once explained, it's in a Rishime, where the Rebbe writes, what's this concept of dog l'chayla? So there's two pirushim. We'll see soon in the Gemara, when Mashiach comes, it could be zachu or loy zachu. If you merit or don't merit. So one Taich Rebbe says is it means in the negative. Dog l'chayla means you have a person that's on a chayla, a very low level, and even a dog. A dog means a fish that's in the water. They live in a place where they're surrounded by their chayas, meaning they're not disconnected. A chayla is someone that's disconnected. And before Mashiach comes, people will be on such a low level that this concept of a dog that's living in this place where he feels his chayas won't be revealed, won't be available. That's one level. Then the Rebbe says it also means in the positive, the chayla we're talking about over here, as it says the famous pshat that chayla b'gematria mem tes, a person that has a chaylas ava, person that's on a very high level, that he has a tzemoin for Elokus. When Mashiach comes, that godly revelation, that tzemoin Elokus, will be so powerful that even this level of a dog, which is the fish surrounded by water and he's living in his chayas, will not be significant regarding this high level of this chayli ave that will be before Mashiach comes. That's in the positive. Omer Rab Chame Bar Chanina, Ein ben David ba at shetichle Malchus Hazalim Yisrael. Mashiach doesn't come, Ben David doesn't come until Malchus Hazalim Yisrael means any level of control, any level of kingdom that Yidden would have, even the slightest level, Hazalim means even a low level of control, Yidden will not have. Shenem, as the pasuk says, v'kodas hazalzalim b'mazmeiros, which simply means you cut the shoots that come out from branches. But here the Gemara is teaching the word zalzalim to mean this malchus hazala, even this little bit of control, Yidden will not have. Uksiv basrei, and then the pasuk says, be'ei in that time yuval shai Hashem tzvois am memoshachem meirat, that the people that were memoshachem meirat, which refers to Yidden that were spread out and were they were suffering, they will then bring a present for the Eibishter when Mashiach comes. Amar Zeiri said, Amar Rab Chanina, the Rebbe Rab Chanina, Ein ben David ba at sheyichlu gasei ruach miYisrael. Mashiach doesn't come until the gasei ruach, the hoary ones, are going to be removed from Yidden. Shenem, as the pasuk says, Ki oz asem mikir b'cha alize gavascha. Then I will remove from you those that are excited with their gaiva. Oksiv, and the pasuk says, "Ve'isharti b'kirbacha." There will be remaining amongst you, amani v'dal, a poor and humble people, v'chasu b'shem Hashem, and they will be in the shadow of Hashem. That's when Mashiach comes. Amar Rab Simlai mishum Rab Elazar Rab Shimon ein ben David ba. Mashiach doesn't come at sheyichlu kol shoftim v'sheitrim miYisrael, until there will be no judges or police amongst Yidden. Shanam, the pasuk says, "V'shiva yadi alayich." I will return my hands upon you, ve'etzreif kaboir sigayich, and I will wash you out. Kabor over here means baidis, which means soap. I will wash you out, sigayich, from your dirt. And in the pasuk there, it continues and it says that va'asira kol b'dilayich, I will remove b'dilayich. So that means b'dilayich over here in this pasuk. It means I will remove those that are removed, meaning the judges that will be removed from you. And then va'shiva sheftayich. At that time, when the judges will be removed, Hashem says, I will bring you back. When that's when Mashiach will come. Ula says, Ein Yerushalayim nivdis ela b'tzedakah. Yerushalayim will only be redeemed through giving tzedakah. Or another gerse is Yidden will be redeemed through tzedakah. Shenem, the pasuk says, Tzion b'mishpati padeh yishaveh b'tzedakah. Only through tzedakah. Now going back to the pasuk that was mentioned before regarding the judges, Amar Rav Papa, so Rav Papa dashed that pasuk differently. And he said as follows: Ibat the Yehidi, if the Yehidi, meaning those Baligaiva, are going to be bottled, so then Batli Amgushi, then the Amgushi amongst Yidden will be bottled. What does the Amgushi mean? Amgushi, Rashi says, means those that are the Parsiim, that are Mechashvim, that are Mitzayir the Yidden. And Rashi they brings from the Gemara and Shabbos that speaks about what exactly these Amgushi are, if they're these Mechashvim, or they're from Yidden or from Goyim. That's one thing. So that's when the Baligaiva are removed. Ibatli Dayani. If the Dayanim that judge people not properly, when they are removed, then Batli Gezer Fati. Then the Gezer Fati will be removed. These are the Goyish judges that cause pain and suffering to Yidden. They will be removed. So the Gemara says that the proper darshan is from this pasuk that we quoted before. Ibatli, hiri batli amgushi, when the Baligaiv will be removed, so then the amgushi will be removed. The chsiv, ve'etzreif kaboir sigayich, the Gemara here is tarshaning, the ones that hold themselves big and are Baligaive. The word sigayich in Lashon Targum is sagi, means a lot, great. When a person thinks he's great, then the Eibishter will wash out and take away the Baligaive, and then vasira call bidilayich. I'll remove the bidilayich. Bidilayich refers to these amgushi that are separated, meaning they're separated from the Eibishter. Now, v'batli dayani batli gezer fati. What does this mean? The chsiv, the pasuk says, "Heiser Hashem mishpatecha pina oivecha." That when you remove mishpatecha, meaning those that are judging not properly, the mishpah over here, you want the judges that are not judging properly, then pina oivecha, Hashem takes away those enemies that are hurting you. Rabbi Yechanan said, when you see a generation that is going down in their level, they're going down lower and lower. chakale. That's the time that you should await the coming of Mashiach. Shenem, as the pasuk says, "Ves am ani," when Yidden are going to be an am ani, a nation that's like very poor, Teshia v'gayma. That's when Hashem will come and save the Yidden. Rabbi Yechanan, another thing Rabbi Yechanan said, when you see a generation that so many tzaris come upon them, like a river, chakale, that's when you should wait for Mashiach. Shenem, as the pasuk says, ki yavoi kanor tzar. When the tzaris comes like a river, so Ruach Hashem noisasabai. The spirit of the Eibishter is amongst Yidden to make a nest for them. And v'samachle, the pasuk says, v'volet tzion goyel. That's when to Tzion, to Yerushalayim, comes the Redeemer. Rabbi Yechanan said, Ein ben David ba, Mashiach doesn't come, Ella b'doir shekulei zakai, either in a generation that's all meritorious, or kulei chayev, or in a generation that's all guilty. B'doir shekulei zakai, the Mashiach comes in a generation that's all zakai. The pasuk says, "Va'amech kulam tzadikim." When all Yidden are tzadikim, then lo'olam yesharetz. Then they'll inherit the land, which is going on Lasalavi on the olam haba. B'dar shekulei chayev, the pasuk says, "V'yar ki einish." There's no man. V'yishtaimim ki ein mavgia. There's nobody. He's wondering that there's nobody that's davening to Hashem. Oksiv, and then the pasuk says, "Lamani esa." Hashem says, "I will do it for my sake, and then I will bring Mashiach."
So here it says, he learns that it's in the future, not that it's present.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Correct. And the Rebbe says it.
Yeah, it says a different Pirushim, yeah. Amar Rav Alexandri, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Rami. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi asked the following contradiction. Ksiv, in one pasuk it says, Be'ita, that Mashiach comes in a certain time that was designated. But then the pasuk over there says, Achishena, that he comes with haste. He comes quickly before that time. So what's the answer? So since we just said that there are two options of how Mashiach comes, Zachu Achishena, if there's Zeiche, so then he comes before its time. Loi Zachu, if they're not Zeiche, then Be'ita. Then Mashiach comes in its set time. Right, so the taich that it says about this is Zachu, if the Yidden are Mezachech, if they refine and elevate, and the world is ready, so then Achishena, so then Mashiach comes in a higher level. And Loi Zachu, if the world is not Mezuchach, then Be'ita. Then it's in its set time. Amar Rabbi Alexandri, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi Rami, he asked another contradiction, which is the same point there. The Ksiv, in one pasuk it says, Va'aru, and now behold, Imanani Shmaya. Mashiach comes with the clouds from heaven. Kvar, goes together. Imanani Shmaya Kvar. Sorry, how you read this pasuk. Amaru, Imanani Shmaya Kvar Ata. Kvar Inish Ata. This is the man that this is already here with you. So this refers to Mashiach, that he comes in Manani Shmaya, a pasuk in Daniel. But Iksiv, in another pasuk it says, Ani v'reichav al chamer, that he's going to come as a poor man riding on a donkey. So how is Mashiach going to come? Rashi here says that the difference between these two expressions is, in Manani Shmaya kvar inish asi, means that he's coming like a man that rides on a cloud, he comes very quickly. And Ani reichav al chamer means like a person that's going on a donkey that comes ba'atzlos, comes in a lazy manner, slower. So the answer is, like we said before, Zachu imanani shmaya. When Mashiach comes with anani shmaya, but loy zachu, then ani v'reicha v'achamay. Then Mashiach comes riding on a donkey. Okay, but even though the Gemara here says this inyan loy zachu, but it's explained regarding this inyan of ani v'reicha v'achamay, that when it says ani reicha v'achamay, it also shows on an inyan that Mashiach is going to be mezachach the world. Reicha v'achamay, that he's reicha on the chayr, on the chumrius of the world, to be mezachach the world. Amalei Shvar Malka l'Shmuel. Shvar Malka asked Shmuel, Amritu, you say that Mashiach al-Chamara asi, the Mashiach is going to come riding on a donkey. So he says, why does he have to come riding on a donkey? Shadi le susia barka de isli. Send him one of my nice, beautiful horses that I have, that he should come riding on a horse. Amalei, so Shmuel said, Mi yislach bar chiver gavni, do you have a horse that has 100 colors? Rashi says chiver in Persian means 100. So if you have a horse that's 100 colors, that will be good. If not, forget about it. Meaning he was telling him that this saying that Mashiach comes riding on a donkey has a different meaning, that you don't know what this means. So therefore we don't need your horse. Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Ashkechei le'Eliyahu. Rabbi Shua ben Levi encountered Eliyahu Hanavi. The Avakoi, Apische, the Marte, the Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. He was sitting by the opening of the cave where Rabbi Shua ben Yochai is buried. So what happened? Amalei, he says to Eliyahu Hanavi, Asina la'alma da'asi. Am I going to be zeichet olam haba or not? Amalei im yirtze adin hazeh. If this master wants, then yes, he will be zeiche. He used the term of adin hazeh because when they were standing there by the opening of the cave of Reb Shimon Yochai, the Shechina was there with them. So Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Shnayim reisi, I only see the two of us, but v'koil gimel shamaiti. But I hear the voice of three, because he heard the presence of the Shechina that was there with them. Amalei, so Rabbi Shua ben Levi says to Eliyahu Hanavi, Eimas asim Mashiach. When is Mashiach coming? Amalei zil shayrei lididei. Go ask Mashiach himself. So Rabbi Shua ben Levi asks him, V'heiche Yosef, where is he sitting? He said, Apischa de Karta, at the opening of the city. That's where he's sitting. So Rashi says that the pshat of Pischa de Karta means by the opening of Gan Eden. That's what it refers to. That's one pshat. There's another gerse here in the Gemara that it says Pischa de Roimi, by the opening of Rome. That's where Mashiach sits. And he says, Umay Simone, how am I going to identify that this is Mashiach? So he says, because Yosef ben Yaniyeh, he's sitting amongst poor people, Soidle Chaloyim, that are suffering with illnesses, and V'kulon, all these people there, Sharu V'asiri B'chad Zimna. They have various illnesses and they have to open up their bandages and then change them and close them again. So they open all their bandages at once and they change them and close them. But however, Mashiach, Shari Chad, he opens one bandage, Va'asir Chad, and then he closes one. He does one at a time. Why? Why only one at a time? Because Mashiach says, Dilma Mebaina, maybe the moment will come that I'll be needed to come to redeem the Yidden, Deloy Akiv. I don't want to even be held up for an extra moment, and therefore he only does one bandage at a time. Azal Gabe, so Rabbi Shua ben Levi went to see Mashiach. And Amalei, he found Mashiach, he said to him, Shalom Alecha Rabbi Yomairi, greetings to you, my teacher. Amalei, Mashiach responded to him, Shalom Alecha Bar Livoi. Shalom to you, Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Amalei says to Mashiach, Le'emas asimar, when is the master coming? Amalei, Hayayim, today. So now, also legab Eliyahu, Rabbi Shua ben Levi then came back to Eliyahu. Amalei said, so Eliyahu said to him, My Amalach, what did Mashiach tell you? Amalei, Shalom Alecha Bar Livoi. First he greeted me, Shalom Alecha Bar Livoi. Amalei, so now first Eliyahu told him, Aftachach, L'cha, Olavuch, La'al Medasi. Now you're guaranteed for you and for your father that you're going to have Olam Haba. Because he called you by your name and he greeted you this way, that's a sign that you are going to be Zeichet Olam Haba. But then Rabbi Shua ben Levi said to Eliyahu Hanavi, Amalei, Shkuri Kashakarbi. He lied to me. Because the Amalei Ayoim Asina, he said to me that he's coming today, V'lo Yasa. And he did not come. Amalei, so Eliyahu Hanavi explained that Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Hachi Amalach. This is what he meant to say to you. The lashon of the pasuk that says Hayayim, but im b'koile tishmo. Today, if you will listen to my voice, that's what Hayayim here means. But because he didn't listen, therefore Mashiach didn't come. This is the famous story in the Gemara. So the Rebbe once explained this. What does this taka mean? Why didn't Mashiach himself say this clearly? Hayayim im b'koile tishmo. He said to him Hayayim, and then Eliyahu Hanavi explains him in b'koile tishmo. The answer is because he wanted to tell him that the inyan of my coming, Mashiach, is something which is hayayim, meaning the world be'etzem has it and is ready for it. The whole world was created for Mashiach. And really the world is already, in that time for sure, in that time period, and even much more today, the nature of the world itself is already has in it and is ready for Mashiach. Elamai, b'koil tishmo, is that we have to come and reveal it and do Torah mitzvahs to be megala, the hayayim of what the world has in it. That's why he said to him this term of hayayim. Shalu Talmidav Rav Yesi ben Kisma. The students of Rav Yesi ben Kisma asked him, Ei Mesai ben David Ba, when does Mashiach come? So Rav Yesi ben Kisma knew the answer, but he said, Misyari, I'm afraid, when I'll tell you when it is, then you'll ask me to show you a sign for what I'm telling you. So Amrullah, his student said, no, we're not going to ask you for a sign. So Rabbi Shua ben Levi says, Rabbi Yesi ben Kisma says, when this gate of the city of Rome, that's where Rabbi Yesi ben Kisma was, when this gate here will fall, V'yivneh, it'll be built again, V'yipol, it'll fall a second time, V'yivneh, it'll be built a second time, then V'yipol, it'll fall a third time, and they won't have a chance to rebuild it a third time, ben David Ba. That's when Mashiach comes. So now after this, Amrullah, so his student said to him, Rabbeinu, our Rebbe, 10 lanawais, give us a sign that what you're saying is true. So he says to him, you said that you're not going to ask for a sign for what I'm telling you. Amrullah, his student said, but still, give us a sign for this. So he says to them, if what I'm saying is true, The water that's in the cave of Pamius, so Rashi brings this cave of Pamius is the source of where the Yarden River flows from. So the water there, if it'll turn into blood, that's a sign that I'm saying is true. And that's what happened. It turned into blood. Now, B'shas Pitirasai, when Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma passed away, and then at that time he was in Eretz Yisrael, Amalehen, he said to his students, Hamikuli Aroini, that when you bury me, my coffin should be buried very deep in the ground. Why? Because he says, She'ein kol dekel v'dekel she'babavel she'ein sus shel parsiyim nikshabai. Before Mashiach comes, every palm tree in Babel will have a horse that is tied to it, because they're going to come, the Persians are going to take over Babel, then they're going to come and attack Eretz Yisrael with all these horses. And therefore, when they're going to come to Eretz Yisrael, ve'ein locha kol arim va'arim she'beretz Yisrael she'ein sus madai oichel b'teven. The sus, the horses from Paras and Madai that are going to come and attack in Eretz Yisrael, they're going to dig and take out the aronis from under the ground to have what to eat. So therefore, he wants his coffin should be placed very deep in the ground. Omar Rav said, Ein ben David bo, Mashiach doesn't come, shetispashit malchus harish al Yisrael, until the wicked kingdom will spread out over Yidden wherever they are in the world. There's another gears here in the Gemara, b'chol olam kule, wherever they are in the world. Tisha Chadashim, for 9 months. Shenemar, the pasuk says, L'chein yitnam ad eis yelada yolada. That it'll be given to them until the time that it takes for a child to be born. That's 9 months. And then the Yeser Echav Yeshuvan al Bnei Yisrael. The rest of the brothers of the Yidden will be returned to Eretz Yisrael. Omar Ole said, Yesei, let Mashiach come, but v'lo yachmine. I don't want to be there to see this. V'chein Omar Rabba, and Rabba also said, Yesei, let him come, but v'lo yachmine. I don't want to see his coming. Rav Yosef Omar, Rav Yosef said, Yesei, ve'azaki, and I will want to be there to see this, and I will be zeiche de esev betule du kupisa de chamre. I'll be ready to sit even in the shade that's from the kupisa de chamre, the dung from the donkey of Mashiach. Even if I'll have to be there and to see the coming of Mashiach, in that situation, I want to come and see Mashiach. Okay, there's a piddush in this lashon of the Gemara that the Rebbe once said. Well, let's just see the continuation of the Inyan here a second. Amalei Abaye le Rabbe. So Abaye says to Rabbe, my time. What's the reason why you don't want to see the coming of Mashiach? Is it because of the Chevle Shel Mashiach? Rashi actually touches the word Chevle Shel Mashiach. One shot is the portion of Mashiach, Geiroli Shel Mashiach, or it means Chevle Pchodim V'Chavalim, the fear and the terrible things that will happen when Mashiach will come. Is that the reason why you don't want to be there when Mashiach comes? But Vatanya, we learned in the Braisa, Shalo Talmidov, Ezra Blazer, the students asked Rabbi Blazer, Ma Yasa Adam, what could a person do that he should be saved from this suffering when Mashiach comes? Yasik, b'Torah b'Gemilas Chasadim. Let him be Yasik, let him learn Torah and do Gemilas Chasadim. So therefore, the students Abaye asked Rabbe, but Umar had Torah v'had Gemilas Chasadim. You have both Torah and Gemilas Chasadim, so why you be afraid to be there when Mashiach comes? Amalei, so Rabbe said, nevertheless he's afraid, Shema Yigra Machet. Maybe Averis will cause that he will not be saved from the suffering. Rabbi Yaakov Baridi asked, in one pasuk it says, Hashem says for Yaakov, I'm with you and I will protect you wherever you go. But then the pasuk says, Vayira Yaakov ma'od vayetzeloi. He was afraid when he come to Esau. What was he afraid of? Although he had a promise from Hashem, but he was still afraid that maybe his Avedis would cause that he would not be protected. And another thing similar to this, Kedetanya, as we learned in the Braisa, Ad Yaver Amcha Hashem Zubir Shaina. When it says in the Shira that the nation will pass through, this refers to the first time that Yidden come into Eretz Yisrael. And then it says Ad Yaver Amzu Kanisa. So when it says another time Ad Yaver Zubir Shnia, this refers to the second time Yidden came into Eretz Yisrael. That is in the times to build the second Beis Hamikdash, in the times of Ezra. So it says twice in the same pasuk Ad Yavar. So from here we learn that really Ru'uyim Ha Yisrael Yasas Lem Nes B'Bir Shnia Kibir Shaina. Yidden should have came into Eretz Yisrael when they came with Ezra in the same miraculous manner, like when they came the first time, when they came with Yeshua, when they crossed the Yarden with tremendous miracles. Why didn't it happen? Ela Shagara Machet. But the Averis that caused that this didn't happen this way. Okay, the Gemara continues also with other Amiroim that said Yosef V'lech Minei. The Rebbe said the Pshat here. We see here all the Amiroim that are quoted here in the Gemara, Ula, Rabban, and then the Gemara later, Rabbi Yochanan, they all said Yosef V'lech Minei because the Chavle Mashiach. Besides Rabbi Yosef, that said that he's ready, that Yosef Achminei, and even to sit into the shade of the dung of the Chamayr of Mashiach. What does this mean? So the Rebbe, once by a Hadran from Masechta Saita, Erev Shuas Tavshin Lamed Vav, where the end of the Gemara Saita speaks about Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef said, like Tisni Anov V'Deika Anor. Rabbi Yosef was very humble, and therefore he said that he's ready to be there when Mashiach comes, and even if he has to be so humiliated, to sit in the dung of the Chamayr of Mashiach, he still wants to come and he should see. The other chiddush that Rebbe said here is, it says about Rabbi Yosef that he was blind. Why was he blind? He actually made himself blind because he didn't want to have any connection to anything of Eilam Hazeh that will take him away from Hashem. So now, in this time period, when Mashiach comes though, here the Gemara is saying that he says he wants to come and see, that he should have the ability to see. And what is he going to see? He's going to see the Chamayr of Mashiach. The Chamayr of Mashiach refers to the fact that Mashiach then is going to refine the world, including even the Chamayr of the world, the donkey, the lowest thing, and even the dung of the donkey, which refers the lowest level of what there is in the world, and that will become something that will be protecting Rav Yosef. The shade will, for Rav Yosef. That's what he's talking about over here. And the Rebbe brings there in the Sikha what it says in the Ga'ainim, interesting thing, that Amal, by a bris milah, they would use the tzaya of a chamayr, the dung of a donkey, to heal the child by a bris milah. That shows this concept that what is talking about, the kapisa de chamre, this is something that could be refined and be used in the positive. And that's what Rav Yosef is saying, that although he blinded himself, but when Mashiach comes, he's going to be zeicha because of this to see, and to see the greatest bitter that will be even in the lowest level of the kapisa de chamre. Sagt the Gemara weiter, v'chein amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said, Yosef, let him come, but I don't want to see this. Rish Lakish said, my time, what's the reason you don't want to see? Because the pasuk says that, and this is a description of the kinds of tzaras that there is, that like a person that runs away from a lion. And then what happens? He runs away from the lion, and he bumps into a bear instead. And then he runs home, and he puts his hands on the wall, and a snake bites him in his home. So therefore, he says, Rish Lakish says to Rabbi Yochanan, you're afraid when Mashiach comes that there'll be so many tzaras one after another, and therefore you don't want to see this. So Rish Lakish says to him, I can show you that this exists similar even today, and that is, person goes outside, he goes into his field. Upaga by Santer. Who does he encounter? The Santer. The Santer is an individual, it's brought in the Gemara in Baba Basra, the person that takes care of all the properties. He knows exactly all the borders of every property, and he's the one that has the ability to tell you that your border is not here, it's actually less. So therefore you don't want to bump into the Santer. He may take away some of your property. So then, it's like you're encountering a lion outside in the field. So what do? You run away. Nichnas li'ir, you come into the city. Pagabay gabai. Who do you encounter there? The gabai, the one that collects taxes. So you run away from him. Because it's like you just encountered a bear. Nichnas lebeisa, you're going to your home. And you see that your children don't have what to eat, and there's a hunger. So it's like you were bitten by a snake. So this is something that you have even today. So what's the reason why? Rabbi Yochanan said that he doesn't want to be lost at love. He can't because of the tzaras. Tzaras, we know of other tzaras that exist even now. But Elam Mishum Dechsiv, it's because of the following pasuk where it says, Sha'ala naru'u im yolad zachar. Ask the question and see im yolad zachar. Could a zachar give birth? Of course not. So then the pasuk goes on to say, Madua reisi kol geve yadav al chalotzav. I see a man with his hands on his chalotzav, on his loins, ki yeleda, like someone that's giving birth. V'nebchu kol panim le'yirakin. And the face of everybody turns green. What is this referring to? So the Gemara is going to darshan, this pasuk refers to the Eibishter, Lasad Lava, in the time when he has to bring Mashiach. So Mayri, Yisikol Gever, who is it referring to over here when it says that a person looks like he's giving birth, a Zachar, he's holding his hands this way? Who is this Gever it's talking about? Amar Rava, Bar Yitzchak, Amar Rav, Misha Kol Gvura Shaleh. The Kol Gever refers to the Eibishter. They're all strength and all might is his. And then the Eibishter is standing and he has pain. What's the pain the Eibishter has? And then in that time period, the face of everybody is going to turn green. Rabbi Yochanan says, the malachim, Upamalya shalmata, and the Yidden here below as well. B'shah she'amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when the Eibishter says, Halalu ma'aseh yadai, these are the creation of my hands, referring to the Goyim. And Va'alala ma'aseh yadai, and the Yidden are also the creation of my hands. Ha'eicha abed elu mipnei elu. How will I destroy these for the sake of these? I'm going to destroy and annihilate the Goyim for the sake of, to bring Mashiach for Yidden. So therefore this is going to be very difficult in that time period, and that's going to be the reason for the suffering that Rabbi Yechonah says he doesn't want to see this. But Rav Papa gave an example for this. This is what people say, Rohit v'nafel tura, that the ox was running and it fell and it got hurt, and then what happens? The ox usually goes and is there in the place where the food is, to go and to be able to eat from the food by the thraf for the food. Now once the ox got hurt, then it can't go and get the food anymore. So the owner, the master, goes v'shadi lesusya b'oriyeh. He brings the horse instead to go there by the thraf of the food. And now what happens? Once the horse is there eating, so then to schlep away the horse and to allow the ox when he's healed to come back is difficult. The same thing b'negeya to Yidden, that when Yidden had their downfall through their Averis, and because of this, the Eibishter allowed the Goyim to come and to benefit from what there is, even after when Yidden do tshuva, for the Yidden to be able to come back and take it away from Goyim, this is something that comes with great difficulty. And that's what it says here, that everyone's face turns green. Amar Rav Gidol Amar Rav Gidol said in the name of Rav, Asidin Yisrael, the Ochli, Shnei Mashiach. And the Yidden are going to then in the future going to be the ones that are going to eat from the great goodness that there will be in the years and the time when Mashiach comes. Amar Rav Yosef, so Rav Yosef said about this, Pshita, obviously Yidden will come and eat from everything that will be when Mashiach comes. Ve'ela manochel, who else is going to come and take everything? Achaluhu, Chilik hu bilik achliluhu, Chilik and bilik going to eat from this. Who's this Chilik and bilik? The Gemara here says. So Rashi has a few pshatim in this. One pshat Rashi says Chilik and bilik is just an expression that people used to say. It's like saying the Sheidim are going to come and eat from this. Rashi brings the Gemara in Chulin also uses this expression Chilik le'yadayna le'bilik. It's another pshat Rashi says Chilik and bilik means a lashon of chorbek, like buka mavulka, means that those that have destruction. That's who's going to eat from this. I think there's another pshat here. Rashi says Chilik and Bilik are two Dayanim and Zdaim. That was their name. So the Chilik and Bilik, these two Dayanim and Zdaim, they're going to come and eat from this. So the Gemara says what Rav Gidol Amar Rav was trying to say is B'chlal, that Mashiach is going to come and everything that it says in the Nevuah is going to be fulfilled. Lafukim mit Rav Hillel. This comes to exclude from what Rav Hillel said, the Amar Ein Mashiach li Yisrael, that there is no Mashiach for Yidden. Shekvar achlu b'mei Chizkiah, because whatever it says in the Nevuahs about Mashiach was already fulfilled in the time of Chizkiah. The Gemara is going to come back to this in Daf Tzadik Test. We'll see there what Hillel said. Ein Mashiach li Yisrael. Omar Rav said le'ivri alma elo leDavid. The world was created only for the schos of David HaMelech, because of David that comes and sings for the Eibishter. Shmuel says leMoshe. The world is created for the schos of Moshe that comes and gives Yidden the Torah. Rabbi Yechonah leMashiach, that the world is created for the schos of Mashiach. Mashmai, what is the name of Mashiach? Here's the famous Gemara where it talks about the name of Mashiach. So the Bei Rab Shila Amri, by the yeshiva of Rab Shila, they said Shila Shemai, that his name is like their Rebbe Shila. Shanem, as the pasuk says, At Kiyove Shila, referring to Mashiach. The Bei Rab Yanai Amri Yinan Shemai, that his name is Yinan, similar to the name of their teacher. Shanemar Yihi Shemai LaOlam Lifnei Shemesh Yinan Shemai, that before the sun, Yinan Shemai, that refers to Mashiach. Right, so that means Lifnei Shemesh, Rashi says, even before the world is created, Yinan, Mashiach, is already all over Machshava. The Bei Rab Chanina, by Rab Chanina that is, by Rab Chanina they said, Chanina Shemai, Shenema Ashalei Etan Lechem Chanina, that I did not yet give you this Chanina, that which refers to the fact that Mashiach didn't come yet. The Yesh Eimrim, others say, Menachem ben Chizkiah Shemai, that the name of Mashiach is Menachem. Shanem, as the pasuk says, Kirachak mimeni menachem meishav nafshi. Okay, so here you see in this Gemara that the Talmidim they would come and say that their Rebbe is Mashiach. Clear, very very clear, open Gemara here. And as the Gemara concludes, the last name, all these names the Gemara says, it says that each one of these names is another aspect of what Mashiach represents, what Mashiach's inyan is, and the last name and the Ikir and the seam of the whole inyan is Menachem Shemai. But Rabbanan Amri, the Rabbanan say, Chivri debei Rabbi Shemai, that the Chivra, which is a Metzaira by Rabbi, by the house of Rebbe, that's the name of Mashiach. Shanema, as it says about Mashiach, Ochen Chalyenu Hu Nasa, he carries our illness, Umachavenu Sivlam, and he suffers for us. And Vanachnu Chashvanu Nogua Umuka Lekim Umu'une. And we consider him to be someone that has a nega, and he's Muka Lekim, he suffers for the sake of Yidden. But that's the name of Mashiach, Chivri de Beit Rebbe, which is also similar to what the Gemara said in Amar Aleph, when Rabbi Shua ben Levi met Mashiach, that he has bandages and he has to heal himself. So this inyan of a mitzayre, the Rebbe also explained this once, Barichas, according to what the Alter Rebbe says in Likutei Torah about the shayrish of the inyan and goyim, that it comes from high level of gvuris and kedusha, takbairis achayis, from a very high level in kedusha, and those gvuris are going to be revealed when Mashiach comes, and that's the Chivre de Beit Rebbe. Rav Nachman said, if Mashiach is from those that are living, then it's like me. Shnema, the pasuk says, "V'hoya adirai mimenu." That the great one, the powerful one, and the ruler will come out from within them. So Rav Nachman, which was then a leader for the Yidden, so he is the one, he says, like myself. Amar Rav said, if Mashiach is from those that are living, so then this is Rabbeinu HaKadosh. If it's from those that passed away already, who kagain Daniel ish chamudais. Then Mashiach will be Daniel ish chamudais, which suffered a lot of Yisurim, and he was a big chassid, and it refers to Mashiach. So this is who Mashiach will be. So Rashi actually has two pshatim over here, and this one pshat is that it means literally that either it's going to be Rabbeinu HaKadosh or Daniel, if it's from the ones that passed away. Another pshat Rashi says, it says in here in the Gemara, Kagain. Kagain means, for example. It's just to give you an example of those great tzaddikim that we can compare and understand who Mashiach is like. Okay, but here, according to the first pshat in Rashi, you have a clear Gemara that is telling you that Mashiach could be min Chaya, or Mashiach could also be min Messiah. Amar Rav Yudah Amar Rav, Aseh leKadosh Baruch Hu, lahamed lahem, David Acher. Eibishter will bring for the Yidden another David again that will rule on Yidden like David ruled on the Yidden. Shenema va'avdu esavai lekeihem ves David Malcolm asher okim lehem. They will serve the Eibishter and David, and which I will bring to them. So okim, it says heikim le'nema. It doesn't say in the past, even though David the Melech was in the past. Elo okim, it says in the future, which means Mashiach in the future. Amalei Rav Papa la'abayis, Rav Papa said abai, but vakseh v'David avdi nasilem lo'ilam. That says that David is the Nasi for them forever, which means that David is already from before and he's the Nasi forever. And says the Gemara, Kagain, Keser, Opalgi Keser, that David will be Lasad Lavi as well. Now the simple pshat of the Gemara is that David HaMelech will be Lasad Lavi, but then there'll be Mashiach as well. And then when Mashiach will come, so then Mashiach will be the Iker, and then there will be also second, like a Palgi Keser, there's the Caesar himself, and then the one that's like the Mishnah LaMelech, and that will be Mashiach, or that will be David. That's a simple pshat of the Gemara. Everyone spoke about this Gemara, Barichas Gedayla. It's also printed in Likutei Sichos Chelek Lamed Hey, in Parshas Yigash, I think, where the Rebbe there explained that when it says here Keser or Palgi Keser, it's referring all to Mashiach himself, not to people. But Mashiach himself, there'll be two aspects to Mashiach. It says about Mashiach that he'll be a king, and a melech, and it'll also be a teacher, a nasi. So there's the inyan of Mashiach, that is a melech, that's the ikar of Mashiach. And that's the big chiddush of Mashiach, the way he'll rule over the world with all the great miracles. That's what means Keser. The Rebbe also taich b'derech remez. Keser means, Meloshin, the word Keser comes when you have a cesarean, a birth that's not b'derech hateva. That's the ikar of Mashiach, that will be l'mayla b'derech hateva. And then there's the Palgi Keser, which is a different aspect of Mashiach, which is the fact that he's a Nasi and he'll teach Torah, which is also a Chiddush, but not on the same level. Those are the two aspects of Mashiach that the Gemara is talking about over here.